job. Were you in here when we talked to the other guy?
Oh, yes.
About, okay, so I won't say the same things, but some of the same ideas. Just my personal taste, I could use a lot more done with dynamics. Again, knowing that Haydn didn't write any, that doesn't necessarily mean that they wouldn't have been played. It just means he didn't know what the capability of the instrument was, since it was a brand new invention. So I would do more. To be honest with you, I'm not a big fan of this Goyen's transcription. There are a couple of others that I think do a better job dynamically. For instance, I'll give you an example. At the beginning of the third movement, he has your first entrance at piano. I don't know why in the world you would ever do that. Haydn, that was one dynamic he wrote. He wrote forte there. So I prefer to flip the dynamics that he has and do the first three measures forte, then the answer piano, and then back to forte, and that sets you up for going up to the high section. So experiment around. Who have you listened to play this?
I've listened to Winton and Norwegian trumpet player. Time Ting Helsa.
Oh, Time Ting Helsa.
Yeah.
Helsa,
I don't know how you pronounce it.
Yeah, Time Ting Helsa. Keep listening to different interpretations of this, because now, do either of them do as much slurring as you did?
No.
I don't think so. I would do more with that. Let's see, what was I was going to mention one other thing. Oh, the whole business about the cadenzas. Haydn writes 3 fake cadenza moments in this. Now, this would completely go over the head of an audience today, because they're not used to hearing Mozart, Haydn, concertos for piano, for French horn, for other violin, for other instruments. But in the audience at that time, as soon as they heard that da 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 da, and the orchestra stops on a tonic chord, they're expecting a cadenza. Now, so what I would do, hesitate just slightly before you come back in. Da, 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 and come back in, bang, exactly in tempo, or maybe even just a touch faster than you were. And that will just bring off, that'll put the timing to his joke, which would have been 100% evident to the audience at the time.
Haydn didn't write a cadenza in the
No, he didn't write any cadenzas at all. Now, do you know the first movement?
No.
Okay. Here's how adept the audience was at the time. Do you have the first movement with you?
No.
Oh, come here.
Or go look at maybe at your part.
Oh yeah, I've got it right here. Just come here and look at this. Here's the most famous moment to trumpet players today, where it goes up to the high E flat at the end of the development section. But that wasn't the big moment then, because they were used to trumpets doing that. Bach, Handel, all of those guys wrote trumpet parts that were way up in the stratosphere, so it wasn't the high notes that excited them. When they played, would you play that for everybody? Just those 3 notes?
These?
Uh-huh. Okay, now put the third vowel slide out a little bit. Uh-huh. At the premiere performance, it's reported that several ladies in the audience, when they heard a trumpet play a half step in the extreme low register, ran from the room, and one of them shouted that the devil was here. Now, that's how much the audience at that time in 1796 was aware of what was capable of the instruments of the time and what wasn't. And they left the room when they heard that. So that was the moment that brought the house down at the premiere. And I can't believe it. A lot of trumpet players leave that out. They think, okay, I showed them my high E flat, I'll just leave out the next lick because it's not that important anyway. But historically, it was the moment. So anyway, yeah, this was the first piece written for chromatic trumpet. Now, talk about influence. The same guy that commissioned this, Anton Wiedenger, 8 years later commissioned the Hummel Concerto. 2 most famous trumpet concertos ever written were commissioned by the same trumpet player in Vienna 8 years apart. Quite a legacy.
Mike told us that's what we're going to play next year's the Hummel.
All right. Thank you very much. Good job.
What?
Mike said he was